Hey beautiful people, my name is Kritarov, and in this video I want to talk about the lever points of your Google Ads account. All too often we create campaigns, ad groups, keywords and ads and hope the sales just fly in. But that's not how things work. Not only you don't see any traction from your campaigns, but you also burn marketing money for nothing. So I show you where you want to invest your time in to optimize your search campaign and taking this kind of bird view perspective. First of all, you need to understand the dynamic of a funnel and the different levels of functionalities you can do in Google Ads. From a funnel perspective, basically we have reach, traffic and value. It may seem trivial, but boy, how many times have I seen people messing up these properties, even digital advertising agencies optimizing the wrong properties for the wrong goals. Obviously, when you first set up a campaign, you need to decide on the ad type, you need to specify the language, your daily budget, geographical targets, and then you need to create ad groups and keyword sets and assets like text ads. All settings you do on a campaign level and on the keywords will define your potential reach that you can get. If your reach is limited, it doesn't matter how good your ads are or how good your UX on your website is, your campaigns will underperform. And on top of that, the algorithm of your bid strategy won't get enough data to perform well enough towards the goal. So if you or your client complains that your campaigns are not getting enough traffic, look at these settings first before optimizing ad text or looking into other options for the upper or middle funnel like video or display ads. So these are the options that I often see in Google Ads accounts that are forgotten or neglected. Ad scheduling was often used in the past to work more efficiently with your budget. But today, with more sophisticated bid strategy, this feature becomes increasingly redundant. Sometimes I still find old ad schedules from a long forgotten time in the accounts of my clients because account managers forgot that they still existed. People fear that broad match keywords will flood their campaigns with conversion rate destroying search terms that don't serve any purpose besides eating up all your ad spend. But if you have conversion-based bid strategies, broad match keywords can dramatically increase your performance, especially if reach and traffic is limited. Locations and language. Ensure that location and language targets are accurate to your service area. In a market like Switzerland, where I'm based at, and where you have many languages in a relatively small surface area, you don't want to narrow down these targets too much. I usually like to geo-target on a country level and create a separate campaign for each major language. And I also add additional languages to the most popular language in my country to make sure that the minorities are still getting the ad, because many people are setting their browser languages to their native language, even though they are living in Switzerland. Rules and scripts. Much like the ad scheduling feature, old rules and scripts can dramatically limit your reach when they automatically decrease your daily budget or pause certain ad groups, campaigns, or keywords. So just to make sure that you don't have any outdated scripts or rules running in your system. This you can set on the account level. Not exactly for search ads, but for display and video. Another limiting factor for reach can be frequency capping. From a human or brand perspective, frequency capping can make sense to not overexpose certain certain ad sets to people. In the past, frequency capping was quite a useful feature to not bombard people with your ads. But now, with more sophisticated bid strategies, I'm not sure if it's still that useful. And it surely can limit your reach as well. Now, so moving forward, let's move from reach to the next step in our funnel, and that's traffic. Once our doors are open for the traffic to come in, we can optimize other properties to increase the chance that our ads will generate traffic and not just impressions. And to be clear, we don't speak of the value of this traffic yet. This will come later. So the metrics that are important for traffic are clicks and click-through rates. And the ingredients for a good click-through rate are quite straightforward. Write compelling ad assets that match your keywords and your landing page. But also don't overcomplicate it. People usually spend too much time writing the most creative and most brilliant ad text. But don't be lazy either. Use all the assets like headline and description variations, ad extensions that you can. But just don't overcomplicate it. And lastly, let's talk about the value of your traffic. Your traffic needs to be geared towards an action that a visitor of your website should take. Do you want a visitor to buy something from your website, sign up for a newsletter or a subscription? Do you want a visitor to consume your content like videos or text? Or do you want a visitor to download a PDF, ebook, or make a physical appointment or book a class? Anything. Just make sure you track it. The heart of your Google Ads account is your bid strategy. The algorithm of your bid strategy calculates the possibility of a visitor taking the action you want. Therefore, manages the bids on every keyword that you have in your account in real time or every search query. And to make the most out of your bid strategy, you need to optimize the following things: data volume, assets, and conversions. We have briefly touched on the topic of conversions, but simply said, get your data right and measure your business objectives. And if you're not working with Google Analytics 360 or the GMP stack, use Google Ads conversions instead of imported Google Analytics goals. You still can use Google Analytics for all your reporting, but you want to use Google Ads conversions for your bid management in Google Ads. Use Google Tag Manager and hire an analytics specialist if necessary. But good conversion tracking will make all your campaigns so much better. If conversion tracking and your conversion actions are the map on how to reach your goal, the assets like headlines and description variations, all your extensions, your audiences are the tools on how to reach this goal. The more assets you have, the better the bid strategy can work towards your goals. The data and its volume is the fuel that drives the algorithm of the bid strategy. This is why you don't want to limit your reach without a good reason. But there are also other factors that you want to consider when looking at the data volume for your bid strategies. You can't just switch to a conversion-based bid strategy and hope that it will perform perfectly from day one. For a conversion-based bid strategy to work, you need enough conversion data. As of today, Google recommends 15 conversions in the past 30 days for your search ads. Another factor to consider is your account structure. Several years ago, it was somehow best practice to have a very granular account structure with many campaigns and even more ad groups. But today, the best practice is less is more. The idea is to streamline the data flow with a few campaigns and ad groups with broad match keywords to let the bid strategy decide more freely how to manage the bids of the search queries that are coming in. So basically, to provide your bid strategy with more data. Of course, your account structure still needs to make sense for your business and your business objectives and how you report to the different divisions. But you definitely don't need to create a separate ad group for each match type anymore. A practical example is if you are an e-commerce shop and you're selling, for instance, the iPhone 13 model. So you could have a very granular structure where you create one ad group for each model of the iPhone 13. So let's say you have one ad group for the iPhone 13, iPhone 13 Pro, iPhone 13 Mini, iPhone 13 Pro Max, and you could go even further and do another set of ad groups where you separate all the different storage spaces. The problem with that, depending on your reach, is that each ad groups will only get a tiny amount of impressions. Google once gave the number that each ad group needs to have at least 3,000 impressions per week for a conversion-based strategy to work effectively. Well, in my experience, you need to test this number out. It can be lower, it can be higher, but in the end, you need to measure it for yourself and you need to keep testing it out. The recommendation for a lean account structure looks as follows. One brand campaign per language, one generic campaign per language, and one dynamic search ads campaign per language. That's just for search ads. That's just for search ads, obviously, because we can go broader with shopping ads and smart display, etc. But from experience, I can say that the ideal version is not always possible, because especially in big businesses, we have many different divisions that each have their own goals that an account manager needs to report separately. So we can't just throw everything into one campaign and let the bid strategy do the magic, even though it would be most effective, but you just can't do that from a business perspective. So you need to find a middle ground for yourself and for your client or for the company. But just remember that you want to have enough data for your bid strategy to work. Knowing what you know now, you can set your priorities for your Google Ads optimization right. First priority, you want to get your data and tracking right and set up your conversion actions in your account. Second, you want to have enough conversion for your bid strategy to work. If you don't have enough conversion, create conversion sets with micro conversions or soft conversions, just to be able to have enough data coming in for your bid strategy to work. So for an e-commerce shop, it could be, instead of buying something, you want to include add to cart events to your conversion if you don't have enough sales, for example. And later, when sales are high enough, you just can go back to the normal conversion instead of the conversion set and just optimize for the sales. Number 3, depending on your possible reach, primarily influenced by your daily budget and settings that I mentioned in the beginning, structure your campaigns to generate as much data as possible for your bid strategies. Consider consolidating different very specific ad groups into a more generic ad group if you have not enough data for your best strategy to work effectively. Or just focus on your best products first if you don't have the reach to generate enough data. And priority number 4 to optimize is optimizing all your assets. And remember, don't overcomplicate it. Just use all the assets that you can. And of course, keep in mind, Google Ads is just one channel to generate traffic and revenue. And no matter what channels you use to generate visitors for your website, in the end, you need to give your visitor a great user experience. Otherwise, all your marketing investments will be in vain. And especially for Google Ads, you will just burn your media budget. So the UX and your website is very important. So keep that in mind, because all your marketing channels will lead to this website. So just keep that in mind, but that's a topic for another video. I hope this video was valuable for you. If yes, give it a like for the YouTube algorithm and to help my channel. And if you would like more videos on digital marketing, please subscribe to my channel. See you on my next video, hopefully. Bye bye.